Hi, I hope you're having an awesome day. So, as a continuity to Meir's talk, I'd like to present to you the results comparing Redis Search to Elasticsearch. I'll present myself. I'm Keren Ouaknine. I work on the performance of Redis Labs products on the CTO team. And I'm very excited to share with you the results we've measured on Redis Search. Okay, so let's go. As part of this presentation, I'm going to go over a couple of use cases. Then we'll be talking about the main differences between the technologies of Redis Search and Elasticsearch. We'll discuss the configuration settings of each platform. And then I'll explain how we're conducting benchmarks at Redis Labs. Okay, so in the first use case, we're measuring the time it takes to build an index and to do a simple search of 2 words. Measuring the time it takes to build an index is important. We've seen that on a data set of 5 gigabytes, it's a wiki dump that we've taken earlier this month, containing 5.6 million documents. We measured the time it takes to build the index. So the index is basically you have a bunch of words and you are building an inverted index for each word, which document is the word contained in. And what we've seen is that for Elasticsearch, building the index took 349 seconds, and for Redis Search, it took 221 seconds. So it's about 58% faster. And that's exciting. It's our developers, right? Just a clarification. So the performance of a search, as we said, we had many words, and we were able to build the index that we just talked about. So the list of words and the documents in which they are contained. Great. So now we can actually look for 2 words within that index. Very cool. And the throughput and the latency that we observed is a throughput of 12,000 K ops per second for Redis Search compared to 3,000 K for Elasticsearch. At roughly the same latency, with a little advantage for Redis Search, 8 milliseconds for Redis Search and 10 milliseconds for Elasticsearch. Okay, so that's on a simple search of 2 words on the index that we built earlier. Then we tried another use case, a multi-tenant search. So what's a multi-tenant search? In a multi-tenant search, you share the same infrastructure, you share the same software, but you don't share the indices. The indices are separate per tenant. In our case, we had 50,000 tenants, and each tenant had an index which was containing up to 500 documents. So it's up to 25 million index documents. And on Redis Search, we observed the building of the index within 3 minutes and 21 seconds. So it's a throughput of about 123 K ops per second. And on Elasticsearch, well, on Elasticsearch, we crashed after 921 indices. Now, you have to keep in mind that we are building Redis Search with those use cases in mind. We're building them for fast indexing, for fast retrieving, and this is the mindset with which we build our software. Now I'd like to explain the differences between the platforms in a nutshell. So, first of all, Redis Search is running natively in memory, whereas Elasticsearch is operating on drives and caching in some cases. Now, that already has a huge impact on the performance because we're entirely on RAM. Second thing is Redis Search was implemented in C, and Elasticsearch was implemented in Java. So for the programmers here that know how Java takes time to bootstrap before it actually really launches, then in queries which are in the millisecond, that bootstraps consumes times. And obviously, it has an impact on the performance. Redis Search was extremely optimized, built from the ground up, and Elasticsearch is in 2 layers, right? You create an index on top of Elasticsearch. It's going to delegate the build of the index to Lucene, and it's not necessarily mapped one-to-one. There is a different architecture there, so that also has an impact on the performance. And last, the lightness of the Redis protocol compared to the HTTP protocol used by the Elasticsearch is also a reason of the performance differences that we observed earlier. Very cool. Okay. It's important to say that all of the things that we're doing at Redis Labs is open source, is reproducible, and it's important for us to share with you guys the setup that we're using, so if you want to reproduce the numbers and make the comparison yourself, you are able to. So the setup that we used is a C4 8 extra large instance on AWS, obviously dedicated client and for Elastic and dedicated client for Redis. And the configuration settings that we used, we are doing our best to optimize each platform to run at the fastest number that we can. So we spend a lot of time to optimize Elasticsearch. We were running with 5 shards. We increased the JVM settings from 1 gigabyte to 25 gigabytes. We stopped the refresh for, how many people are using Elasticsearch here? Can you raise your hand? Very cool, very cool. So when you bulk load on Elasticsearch, you want to make sure that you're not doing any compaction or any merge of segments during the time you're bulk loading. Otherwise, you're wasting time. You can reactivate the refresh at the end of the build of the index. And that's what we've been doing in these settings. And we removed the number of replicas to 0. On Redis search, I'm throwing you into the internals of the platform here. So there is an internal and an external representation of the documents ID, and that is using a table, and we increase that table, so the number of hops that you're going to do in order to find the mapping between the internal and the external representation is as small as possible. No thread concurrency. We already have concurrency at the shard level. Very cool. Okay, and last thing I want to mention here, and we've mentioned it through the presentation already, but the way we conduct benchmarks at Redis Lab is to try and being fair as possible. First of all, we're using benchmarks which are existing. We're winning not in our territories usually. If it's available and if there is a benchmark, we will be doing our best to implement that. It's reproducible, as I said, and we optimize the settings and we provide the best tuning for every platform that we use. There are other benchmarks out there that we've been conducting. Redis Graph, Roy Lippmann talked about the module earlier today. Redis Enterprise, versus Hazelcast. Redis on Flash, there's a bunch of other blogs on the web. You're welcome to look at it and contact me if you have any questions. It's Keren at Redis Labs, and I'll be very happy to answer all of your questions. And then the performance team is growing, and that's very exciting. I want to say that it's a real privilege to work for Redis Labs. We have super talented developers. We have an amazing family, and we are recruiting. We would love sharing with you these projects, and please send us your candidacy if you're interested. All right, have a great day.